On the outskirts of the spiral galaxy, Georg Theta, in a system with two suns and a blue gas giant, Elazar Station rotated smoothly. It didn't just collect signals from the depths of space or serve as a transit point for ships. It was the headquarters of the most unusual football team in the history of the universe, the Star Strike. The team consisted of representatives of 7 races, each of which would upset the balance of any tournament on its own. The captain was Kars Wu, a 6-legged Volnian tactician whose ability to see 360 degrees made him an impenetrable defender. The attack was dominated by Ngurtoa from the planet Thar, a semi-liquid morph capable of crawling through the cracks between opponents and scoring goals by literally passing through the defense. The goalkeeper was a single mind, a swarm drone named 77 Fox, consisting of thousands of microscopic particles synchronized to perfection. On the field, they communicated telepathically, using tactical maneuvers that would be forbidden in a normal stadium. Their coach, an old cybernetic conscience of an ancient civilization named Harrow, claimed that football was not a game, but a reflection of the cosmos, its dance, struggle, and harmony. The Milky Way Championship was approaching. The host planet, Arcturia 4, was already buzzing with fans and betting. The arena, shaped like the rings of Saturn, was ready to host billions of spectators. The Star Strike were set to play the tournament favorites, the Zargs, a team known for their brutal style and unpredictable quantum goalies. The match began. It was clear from the first seconds. This was not just a game. This was a clash of philosophies. The Zargs pressed, broke the tempo, tried to separate the synchronization of the aliens. But the Star Strikes did not give up. Kars Wu, despite the most powerful blow of the gravity wave, managed to rebuild the defense. Ngurtoa passed through impossible blocks, and 77 Fox, having gathered himself into the form of a giant hand, repelled the blows, moving with unimaginable speed. In the final seconds, with the score tied at 3-3, Harrow sent his team one last play, an ancient tactical pattern from a forgotten civilization. The ball spiraled through the layers of reality, and Ngurtoa, disintegrating into particles, gathered right at the opponent's goal and rolled the ball in, while the Zargov goalkeeper was still processing the quantum prediction. The final whistle. Victory. But not just on the scoreboard, across the galaxy. Because in that moment, when 7 minds from across the universe acted as one, billions of viewers suddenly felt that something more than just sports was possible. Understanding was possible. Peace was possible. And the Star Strikes went into hiding again, preparing for the next tournament. After the final on Arcturia 4, the Star Strike name became more than just a team name. Their faces appeared on holograms, their moves were analyzed on millions of planets, and Harrow's telepathic broadcast, Football as a Shape of the Universe, instantly became a cult classic across 9 civilizations. But within the team itself, there was a growing sense that their victory was just the beginning of something bigger, as if the match with the Zargs had opened not just a final but a portal. 2 weeks after the tournament, an unmarked ship approached Elazar Station. It did not emit signals, did not respond to calls, but hovered within 300 kilometers. Then Kars Wu himself contacted. The answer came in the form of a mental image, a field divided into black and white, on which a ball pulsed like a heart. The image was accompanied by an ancient symbol, a double star inscribed in a circle. Harrow recognized the sign immediately. It was the emblem of the League of Shadows, a mythical organization that was rumored to host matches outside of time and space. The winner of the league was said to receive not just glory, but the power to shape the physics of his own reality. But only those who had passed the match with the true stake could participate. The Star Strikes agreed. The transition to the League of Shadows was not a flight. It was a dissolution. The team woke up on a field that had no edges. The spectators, billions of beings from other dimensions, floated in the void. The opponents, entities without bodies, but playing with gravity, time, and logic. The first match was against the Hourglass, a team in which every player was a clot of time loops. Every time the ball was touched, time in that area of the field jumped, sometimes backwards, sometimes forwards. Toa had to split into different age states of himself in order to dribble the ball simultaneously in 3-time layers. Cars Wu, using absolute circular vision, found a stable loop and executed a combination that closed the game in a draw. In the league, a draw was considered a passage to the next level. But with each match, the feeling of the game changed. 77 Fox began to feel that the ball was not just an object, but a form of consciousness. It resisted like a living being. On the 6th level, they were confronted by a team that called itself the Firsts. No one knew where they were from. All their players were the same, tall figures in silver masks, radiating no energy, saying nothing. The game against the Firsts was weird. Every time the Star Strike dribbled, the field changed shape. The goalposts turned into mirrors. The ball bounced off empty space. The score didn't show. Harrow couldn't predict the plays, and even the hive mind started to lose sync. And then Toa stopped. He didn't run. He didn't pass the ball. He put it down in front of him and sat down. The others did too. Everyone except Cars. He walked up to the ball and said, "We get it. This is not a game. This is a test." At that moment, the field disappeared. The silver figures took off their masks, and underneath were themselves, their own faces, their own minds, their own fears. Harrow said only one thing: "The League of Shadows is a mirror. It shows who you're really playing with." From that moment on, the Star Strikes began to train not on the field, but in memory, inside memories, inside each other's dreams, because the next match is the last, and they will play it not at the expense, but for the very fabric of reality. There was no night between matches in the League of Shadows. There was no time, no cycles, but the team felt tired, not physically, but mentally. Every sleep was no longer a rest, but an arena where consciousness pitted its figures against itself. 77. The Fox disintegrated into hundreds of dreams and came back together, carrying a whisper from another layer. The next match is the end. Victory is impossible, or not necessary. Harrow summoned the team to the Heart Room, a neutral zone within the League where thoughts take shape but not weight. There, amidst shimmering symbols and translucent images, he spoke. "The last match will not be with a team, not with creatures. It will be with the player himself, with the one who creates all the matches, with the one who watches. You will play against him, and if you win, you will become him. If you lose, you will disappear from all time." "What if we don't show up for the match?" asked Cars Wu. "Then the game will begin within you." No one said no, not even Toa, whose form trembled as if he no longer knew what he was made of. Not even Fox, though he knew that on the other side of reality, his fragments were already disintegrating into single pulses. The field did not appear as an object, but as a feeling. They stood in an arena made of their decisions, fears, loves, memories. Across from them, one player, nameless, formless. He was a shadow of the light running through the pupil. His movements were impeccable. He did not touch the ball, he was the ball. The game began, and it was immediately clear that the rules were falling apart. The transmission from Cars to Toa was disappearing halfway. Defensive tactics were not working. Everything was falling apart. "He knows us," whispered Cars. "He's from the inside." "Then," said the Fox, "we must be someone else." And for the first time, the team stopped acting as a single entity. Each player played their own way. Cars used the ancient jumping defense of his people. Toa returned to the chaos of youth, disintegrating into blobs and dancing outside of patterns. Even Harrow, a non-player, intervened, changing the tactics of the field, twisting reality, risking himself. And in this chaos, the player began to lose himself. He could not predict. He could not reflect. He was a creature of symmetry, and now he was faced with the living. The ball was back in play. It vibrated, as if it knew the end was near. A pass from Liss to Cars. A pass to the center where there were no players, no light. And there, the ball stopped. The player disappeared. The field dissolved. And a voice, not a sound, just a thought. You didn't win, but you showed that you can play differently. From that moment on, the League of Shadows fell apart. The games stopped. But in different corners of the universe, fields began to appear, self-emerging, made of light and dust. And beings came there to play, not for power, not for reality, but just to play. And somewhere in the Veltris Nebula on Elizur Station, the seven gathered again. No titles, no judges, just a team, just the star strikes, and a new game began. The game on Elizur was quiet. No crowds, no broadcasts. The ball moved slowly, as if remembering what it was like to be just a game, not the key to the universe. Time became linear again, the light soft, the breathing deep. Ngurtoa was no longer a semi-liquid ghost. He had taken a solid form for the first time in his existence. His body glowed with a soft green light, and his eyes were calm. Cars Wu laughed as he missed the gate, the first time he had allowed himself to make a mistake. The fox did not disintegrate, but remained whole, enjoying for the first time a body that did not require complete synchronicity. But their peace did not last long. A ship arrived at the station, its hull made of silence. It emitted no signals and had no doors. But the crew sensed that there was someone inside. Something, or no one. The fox touched the hull, and it opened as if it had been waiting for him. There was no light inside, but they could see. There was no sound, but they could hear. There, in the center of the ship, hovered another ball. Not shining, not vibrating, dull, like a forgotten satellite. Harrow appeared without warning, his voice trembling, as if even he, the ancient conscience of millions, didn't fully understand what was happening. This is the old game. Before the League of Shadows, it was called the first match. It was never completed. What happens if we play it? Cars asked. Harrow looked at them. Then you will find out who started everything. Silence. But not fear. Inside each of them, there is a response. Their destiny has long since gone beyond the boundaries of sport, power, or even consciousness. Now they could not stop, because the game was not over. They were carried away. The field was an empty space between galaxies. Around them were ancient lights that had already gone out, but whose light still flew. Against them, no one. No players, no forms, only emptiness. But as soon as the ball touched the space, the emptiness changed. First, a shadow appeared, then a form, then doubles. Each player saw before them, themselves, not just a reflection, a version, a possibility, a path they could have taken if they had chosen differently. Cars Wu saw himself, having accepted the Zarg's offer and become a general. Ngurtoa saw himself, never having found a stable form, becoming a weapon. Liss saw himself as a mind, taking over civilizations for the sake of perfect order. The game has begun. Playing against others is easy, but playing against what you could have been is the real test. No pass was automatic. Every kick was a fight against temptation. Every goal was a rejection of an alternative destiny. The match lasted forever, or a moment, and then the field disappeared. The ball hung between the two teams. Both versions of Cars, the original and the alternate, stepped toward the ball. And at that moment, Cars said, "Take him." "Why?" asked the double. "Because you are me, but I have already made my choice, and you are still searching. Take the ball. Find your game." The ball flared up and dissolved. The doubles disappeared. Space froze. And a voice that belonged to no one said, The first match is over. The game continues, but now it's yours. And this was not a promise, but freedom. The Star Strike returned to Elazar. The gates were already there, and children of different races. No suits, no titans, no old leagues. They were just kicking a ball around. Laughter filled the thin atmosphere of the station. Cars Wu smiled. Well, team, shall we play with the young ones? No telepathy, no strategies, no chrono tricks, said the fox. Only intuition and joy, added Ngurtoa. And the ball rolled again. And somewhere beyond space, someone was watching, not as a judge, but as a player who had started all this long ago. He smiled, and he went to warm up. The ball rolled across Elazar's field, carrying everything within itself, the beginning, the continuation, and the possibility. The children laughed, confusing the goals, running in circles, forgetting the rules and therefore inventing new ones. The Star Strikes did not interfere. They only watched, supported, sometimes gently touched the ball, playing along, but not pulling the game. Because now they knew the real field is in every heart that wants to play. But Elazar was not alone. The signals went out in all directions, not through communication channels, but like an echo of joy, like the trace of a blow made not by a foot, but by a choice. And this echo awakened another. At the edge of the Mai-O Nebula, where long-extinct civilizations kept their forgotten worlds, Chronarch awoke. He was once the champion of the League of Eons, a parallel game, closed, predatory, secret. He slept because he had defeated everyone, and victory, he thought, was the end. But now, in the depths of his crystalline consciousness, doubt arose. He heard a game in which there were no winners, but there was fullness. He woke up, and he stood up. Meanwhile, on Elazar, the children began to build their own goals. Instead of the standard rectangles, there were spirals made from the wreckage of old ships. Instead of a net, there was sound energy. If the ball entered the zone, a melody chosen by the group would play. The rules changed every 10 minutes. Cars Wu just chuckled. We trained for so many years in vain, they will overtake us in one day. Ngurtoa laughed for the first time, genuinely, without vibration. Because they don't play for something, they play because they can. And then the ball flew up into the air and hung there, right in the center of the field, as if it was being pulled upward. And not just upward, outward. Do you feel it? The fox froze. Yes, Harrow appeared as always, suddenly. Someone disagrees. Someone thinks that a game without a bet is chaos. And space opened up on the horizon. It didn't tear. It opened up like parchment that was about to be written on. From there came out Chronarch. He was tall as a nebula. His voice came before he opened his mouth. You didn't play by the rules. You abandoned the structure. You betrayed the purpose of the game. Cars Wu took a step forward. We have discovered another target. The Chronarch compressed the space and the ball disappeared. Then let's play. The stake is the entire field. If you lose, all the fields in the universe will disappear. Forever. The children fell silent. One of them, a tiny T with blue eyes, raised his hand. And if we win? Chronarch lowered his gaze. Then I'm playing with you. Silence. And then the fox said, We accept, but on one condition. Speak. Only children play. Chronarch raised an eyebrow. Against me? Yes, we are in reserve. We were the future, but now they are the present. The Chronarch looked at them for a long time, and suddenly he nodded. The ball came back, new, not glowing, just a ball. It fell onto the field. The children stood up, no fear, no uniform. The game began, and the universe held its breath, and the ball hit the field, at first, quietly, then like a heartbeat. There were no stands around, but in every star, in every tiny satellite, in every sentient being, something trembled. Space was no longer just space. It was attention. The Chronarch moved like time, without leaps or pauses. One step of his spanned decades. He didn't just play. He rewrote the game. He changed the shape of the ball on the fly, expanded the field to the horizon, compressed it to a point. He scored goals in the past, blocked in the future. He knew every rule and every shadow of it. But the children did not resist. They didn't try to win by the old rules. They started to have fun. Little T just started kicking the ball. Up. Not into the goal, not to the side, just up, and laughing when the ball came back. The girl with purple skin and eyes like spirals drew faces on the ball as it flew, and it started changing trajectory, laughing. One of them even pulled out a second ball from his pocket and started a parallel game while the others started chasing it. The Chronarch stopped. "This is not a match. This is chaos," Cars Wu shouted from the field line. "No, it is freedom. You said the stake is the field. But the field is not the boundaries. It is the space for the will, and they fill it." The Chronarch raised his hand, and for a moment the entire game froze. The balls hung in the air. The children froze. If they win, they will show the way to all games, forever. Are you sure? And then Harrow, whose memory remembered the birth of strategy, stepped forward. "We were hostages of the goal. They are the bearers of meaning. Yes, we are sure." At that moment, the little Tai broke the freeze. He tapped the ball and it flew again, and all the children, all at once, screamed with joy and ran. The ball hit the ground and bounced. He hit again. And with every blow, something happened. The Chronarch began to shrink, first to the size of a giant, then just a tall player, then to the height of an ordinary person, then the child. And in his eyes, for the first time, light. He looked at the ball not as an artifact, but as an opportunity. He came up, awkwardly, and kicked the ball. He said, "want more." "Then let's play," said T, without judges, without end. And everyone screamed. The field blossomed, not in colors, but in shapes. The balls became planets. The gates became possibilities. The entire universe became an arena. And the Star Strike sat to the side, on the bench, watching. Cars Wu wiped his forehead. "It seems we won?" Harrow replied. "No, we just walked out of the match and let it really begin." Ngurtoa leaned towards Liss. "And what if someone wants to bring back the old rules?" The fox smiled for the first time easily. "Then we will return, but not as players, but as stories, which inspire." And while the children were playing, the universe expanded. Not from explosions, not from laws, and from the joy of being in the game. The game continued. It had no count, but it had meaning. It had no time, but it created moments that lasted forever. Every ball thrown into the air became history. Every touch, a choice. The children no longer played only with Chronarchus. He became one of them, and with him came others. From the black zones of space emerged creatures that even legends were afraid to mention. Stone, sand, light, void. But no one stopped the game. They simply became players. Because there was no fear on the field, only the opportunity to be a part. The stars no longer simply shone. They became balls. Entire systems twisted along the trajectories of the passes. Planets became goalkeepers, hiding balls in their cores. Even comets, wanderers without a goal, began to fly along crooked routes, following the movement of the game. But somewhere, in what was silence, in the interspatial folds, he watched, nameless, formless. He was not a player. He was the one who never played, the one who only watched, the primal observer, the phantom of control. His will was not to capture, but to limit. He believed that the universe was a book, and every game a careless stroke on its pages. He whispered, "It's too much. It blurs the structure." And then, as if from under the carpet, the whispering mist rose. It erased the rules, not for freedom, but for emptiness. It began to take away the memories of the game, first in distant worlds, then closer. Teams forgot why they gathered. Balls stopped rolling, and in some hearts there was a cold, why play at all? The Star Strike felt it immediately. Even the children on Elazar stopped. The sky grew dark not because the sun was gone, but because the idea of light was beginning to fade. Cars Wu stood up. He came. "Who?" asked the fox. "Someone who has always been out of the game. Someone who hates the movement itself." Harrow appeared not next to them, but inside them, like an ancient thought that found a voice. He doesn't want to control. He wants to erase everything that lives when the ball rolls, everything that is connected: laughter, choice, defeat, chance. "How do we fight him?" asked Ngurtoa. The girl answered, the one with the spiral eyes. "Not to fight, but to play, even if no one is watching, even if it seems there is no point. Just kick the ball, because it is the word." And she kicked. The ball rolled through the void where there were no longer any forms. It rolled alone. And this sound, barely audible, but real, became the first blow of memory. A boy followed, then another, then fox, then cars, then Ngurtoa spreading into a rainbow of shapes. The ball began to glow, not with light but with intent. It was remembering. It was returning. And somewhere, very far away, in the hearts of those who had already forgotten what a game is, a simple word was born. Or maybe play. The whispering mist retreated, not because it was defeated, but because it was no longer needed. Nameless froze again. He could not stop what lived in the word itself. He was an observer, and now he was a spectator. And the game started again. On all fields, in all realities. A ball rolling down a dusty path on a forgotten planet, a huge sphere orbiting a double sun, the first kick of a child born in the era after the light. It was all one game. And somewhere, very quietly, an old voice said, "Let it roll." And he rolled. A ball forgotten in the sand of a distant moon touched the foot of a child born without a name, but with a smile. The ball, sparkling in the atmosphere of a dying star, was intercepted by the hand of a being made of energy, and for the first time in his life he did not destroy it, but passed it on. A ball made of light flew through a nebula where no one had ever played before, and suddenly a player appeared. First one, then another. The world was returning, not right away, not suddenly, but like spring, where even after the longest cold, a sprout appears in a crack in the stone. And on Elizar the field came to life again. Kars Wu sat on the edge, stroking the ball like an old friend. He still wants to roll. "He always will want to," answered the fox, sitting next to him, "because he's part of everything now." Ngurtoa appeared out of thin air, landing softly on the ground, shimmering with colors that weren't in the spectrum. "We started as a team, but now we have become an idea that cannot be closed." Harrow stood a little further away. He was no longer a projection. He was now the breath of the field. His words rang out through the wind in every voice that said, *pass*. An idea lives as long as it is remembered, as long as it is played, as long as at least one person challenges the silence by serving the ball. Then the children came. There were more of them, many. Some were from other times. One was from the future, where thoughts replaced bodies. Another was from a world where players sang and the ball echoed with a melody. The third was the game itself. They didn't ask if it was possible. They knew that anything was possible. "Want to play with us?" asked the girl with spiral eyes. Kars Wu stood up. "Only if you don't spare us." And again, the ball is in motion. He hit, bounced, flew up, and there, in the air, he didn't stop. He grew asterisk, turned into an orbit, started to attract around him, planets, moons meaning. And one day, in the future, when someone asks, "Where did the game begin?" the answer will be simple. From desire. From the fact that someone, when everything was on the edge, simply kicked the ball. And wherever you are, whoever you become, if you want to understand what it means to be part of the universe, go out onto the field *. Look ahead, find the ball, and let it roll. And it rolls, still, somewhere, along the metal flooring of the station, where for the first time in thousands of years, the lights were turned on to illuminate a match between two species that had previously been enemies. Somewhere, on the surface of the ocean, over which air creatures gathered and reflected in the water, forming rules of light and shadow. Somewhere, in the void, between dimensions, where the game was not played on the field, but by concepts. Asterisk trust asterisk, asterisk laughter asterisk, asterisk chance asterisk. And in the center of it all is the field on Elazar. It was no longer just a place. It had become the core of the game. Not like a throne or a temple, but like a asterisk heart asterisk that beats when someone takes the first step. The Star Strike remained, not as heroes, as asterisk seniors asterisk. They no longer played in every match, but showed up when someone lost faith in the game. Sometimes they just watched. Sometimes they played along. Sometimes they asked, "Why are you playing?" Because the answer to that question created the field and made the ball real. And yet, one day, Eliezer hummed, not from danger, from a call. Space trembled, and a asterisk crack of possibility asterisk appeared in the sky. It was not a threat. It was an asterisk challenge asterisk. Not from an enemy, from the cosmos itself. He wanted to play. Harrow, now fully part of the game, said, "It will be a match with the very fabric of the universe. It wants to know that we asterisk really exist asterisk." And all the teams from all corners of the world, children, dust creatures, song players, ancient titans, even Chronarch, gathered again. Not to win, but to asterisk show off asterisk. The game has begun. The field stretched through layers of time. The ball was sometimes a thought, sometimes a moment, sometimes a lifetime. But it asterisk moved asterisk, because someone kicked it, someone believed it. There was no score at the end of the match, only echo. It sounded in all worlds, in all voices. Play is not a means. Play is what makes you you. Asterisk asterisk. And the cosmos understood. It was not superior. It was not a god. It was a asterisk player asterisk who had been waiting all this time to be called to be told, "Do you want to play?" He smiled and kicked the ball. And here it is again, rolling. And it will always be so. As long as there is at least one who wants to play. As long as there is a field, even if it is just a memory. As long as there is a ball, even if it is made from a dream. And if one day you feel that everything is empty, that the meaning is slipping away, find the nearest open space. Draw the gate. Call someone. Or don't call. Just kick the ball. And listen. It's rolling. And the ball is still rolling. Now, through a new fabric. Through the one that was born after the abyss. It did not exist before, because no one even believed that there was something after the end. But it turned out there was. This space was called the Veil. No one knew what it looked like because the veil reflected not form, but will. Those who entered it saw not color, not light. They saw themselves. And who they could be if they continued to play. Kars Wu was the first to enter the Veil. He, an old warrior, saw his reflection as a player who never made mistakes. Perfect, cold, impenetrable. And he understood. I would lose to myself because I would stop feeling. He left the mask and walked on. Nigertoa became a waterfall. He had no body, only streams. The veil showed him. You could become the entire game, absorb the others, play alone. But he smiled, and then it wouldn't be a game, but just movement. And the drop separated, became him again. He passed. The fox saw infinity, scenarios, victories, perfect matches where no one misses, where everything goes according to plan, where he is the eternal goalkeeper, not allowing a single goal. It's boring, he said. Without risk, there is no miracle. And the ball flew past. He allowed it. The fox laughed and passed. And then the children, they didn't see the trials. They did not notice the illusions. They just ran forward and kicked the ball. The veil dispersed. It did not collapse, but passed into them. Now everyone who plays, even in a forgotten alley, in dust and solitude, even if they just throw a piece of paper into a trash can, like an improvised gate, touches the veil, because now she's everywhere. And then a new signal appeared, not a threat, not the end, and an invitation. Play the first intertemporal tournament, a game that goes on simultaneously in all eras, where the same team plays in the past, present, and future all at once. A tournament where it doesn't matter who scores, but who keeps the pulse of the game going. Cars Wu nodded. Well, old man, one last one? Ngertoa held out his hand, beaming. Not the last one, just the next one. Fox. We're launching, along all the centuries-old lines. And the girl with spiral eyes took the ball and whispered, let it roll in time. And it rolls. Through the 21st century playground. Through the throne room of the Rogal Empire where two guards play at night. Through the dreams of a dying star dreaming of his first broadcast. Through the ruins of the world where the field will one day be built. Through you if you want, because you are now part of the game too. And if you get up, look ahead, and know the ball is already flying towards you, and the ball flies. He is not subject to gravity, time, or distance. He moves through fields that have not yet been created, but are already waiting asterisk. His path is not laid out by maps, but by intentions asterisk. He senses where someone is ready to receive a pass and there he goes. Here is a city in ruins, the world after a catastrophe. People have forgotten how to smile. But among the ashes, two children found a round stone. One of them said, it looks like a ball. What are they doing with him? I don't know, but it seems to me he needs to be kicked. And at that moment the stone lit up from within. He remembered that he was a ball, because someone wanted to play. On the other side of the universe, in a myriad of synthetic minds that had built an ideal society without mistakes, one of them opened a forbidden file, archive. He didn't know why. He just felt the call. He modeled the field. He created playing partners out of light. He kicked the ball. And he smiled, for the first time since his creation. And in the center of everything is the intertemporal field . It had no beginning and no end. On it stood at once the ancient and the future, shadows and dreams, forgotten and yet unborn. Everyone played, each in their own reality, but together . Cars Wu passed the ball into the past. Ngertoa accepted it in the future. The fox was defending the goal in a moment that doesn't exist yet . And the children ran between these worlds, laughing, breaking timelines, because in the game everything is possible . And at some point when the balls started spinning, when the fields were covered with light, when even the darkness began to look not with hatred, but with interest. He's back. Creator of the first whistle. The one who once made the first sound separating the game from chaos. He was the one who started, and the one who disappeared when he thought everything had been said. Now he stood at the edge of the field. In his hands was a whistle, old, worn, but alive . He looked at everyone. I didn't come to finish. I came confirm . And he blew. But that was not the final whistle. It was initial . For the new game, in which there will be no winners or losers, only players, only fields, only a ball rolling along the edge of possibility. Wherever you are, in whatever era, in whatever body, at whatever point in reality, if you feel a slight blow to your heart, if you suddenly feel like getting up, if you hear a ringing sound like a whistle, this means you have been called. So the ball is nearby, and the game is on. So get up. Kick him, and look where it rolls. Let it roll. Let it roll. Let it roll. The ball is rolling for the last time, not because everything is ending, but because everything has ended . The cycle has passed. The pulse of the universe from first pass to last touch has come full circle. And now, silence, not emptiness. Peace. The intertemporal field flickers. It no longer requires players. It remembers everyone who was, who lost, who stood up, who played alone, who held the goal, even when there were titans against. The field has become a memory. It no longer needs legs to feel the impact of the ball. It has become alive . Cars Wu stands at the edge. His laces are untied, his shoes are off. He watches the ball roll one last time and freezes. "We played everything we could," he says quietly. "And more," the fox answers, placing his hand on his friend's shoulder. His hands are already transparent. He crumbles, not disappearing, but becoming part of the light. Negertoa, now pure vibration, wraps around them both like a final transmission into infinity. "We weren't heroes," Harrow's voice sounds. "We were the first to believe that the game asterisk is more important than the result asterisk, and that's why it stayed." The girl with the spiral eyes picks up the ball. It's no longer glowing. It's just asterisk, warm asterisk, alive. "And now," she says, "I will give it to those who come after." She places the ball in the center of the field, retreats. The field begins to disappear, not erase, but go into the depths of space, into the future, into every heart where one day laughter and a kick of a ball will sound. Asterisk game saved. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. You are standing in a small empty field. At sunset, the wind plays with the dust. In front of you is a ball, the most ordinary one, worn out. You don't know where he's from. You don't remember it being brought. But he is asterisk here, asterisk. You look at him, and suddenly you feel someone is looking back. Not outside, asterisk inside you. You smile and slowly approach. What if we just... You kick, and the ball rolls, and that means asterisk, asterisk. The game continues asterisk, asterisk, forever.